And so like Trey mentioned, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about our organization and self-direction West Virginia Ready skills today. And to get us kind of going, I want you to think about when you have a goal, how do you plan to achieve it? What are one or two things that, say you have a goal in mind, whether that's to, make a sports team or to make a certain grade in a class, whatever it may be. When you have a goal, what do you do to achieve it? All right, Miss Good, whenever y'all's class is ready, if I could just get one or two students to volunteer and talk about how they plan to achieve goals.
Sure, I've got two students that want to come up.
Awesome, thank you.
Welcome.
Hey guys. Okay, so it really just depends on what your goal is. I mean, you gave the example of wanting to make a sports team. It comes down to how skilled you are at that sport or how much practice you put in. But if it comes down to making a class, it's simply a matter of how much time you put into studying or how knowledgeable you are when it comes to the subject. So when push comes to shove, you just really need to know what you're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, I like how you mentioned it really depends on the goal and the different skills or different time management you need to achieve that. I like that. Thank you.
Got the next student coming up.
You also have to have the right mindset. If you don't have a good mindset and you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to go very far. Like if you don't think you can do it, you're probably not going to get very far in your goal. But if you believe in yourself and have confidence, you'll get a lot farther than you would without confidence.
Yeah, that's a great point. You need confidence in order to achieve something, especially something you've never done before. Great. Thank you so much.
One thing I'd like to just say real quickly there is that both
Sure.
of these speakers hit on it, is it's so important for your goals to be your goals. Not someone else's goals for you, because you can tell the difference between your goal that you're motivated to achieve versus a goal that someone else is trying to set for you. So recognizing that's critical. I think you both did that.
That's an excellent point, Trey, making sure your goals are your own goals and that you're kind of following the beat of your own drum. That's excellent. All right, great. So basically what we're going to do today is just talk about a couple of tips that will help you meet goals. And this can be transferable. I gave a couple examples with, making a certain grade in a class or making a sports team, but these are a couple of tips that can help you achieve any goal, whatever that is. So there's four main things you want to have during your organization. So the first is to do it first. So you want to focus first on important tasks that might need to be done the same day or in order to meet long-term goals. The second is to schedule. You want to schedule important but not urgent tasks. So making sure you have a plan, writing that plan down and making sure you meet those kind of benchmark goals along the way. So schedule out dates. The third thing, this is something that I really struggle with, is delegate. So you delegate what is urgent, but is maybe less important, or maybe you're not as skilled at. So Trey mentioned earlier that when they're dealing with education law, they may need other lawyers who are more skilled in real estate or tax laws, things like that, when they're working on an education case. And so this is a great example. Trey would delegate some of those responsibilities within the case to a tax lawyer or a real estate lawyer who is more skilled at that. So that way he can focus on the more education sided points in the case. So you want to learn to delegate. And the fourth is to learn to don't do some things. So, as you're going along in a goal, there may be different things that, might seem like it would be fun to do, or it would be an added bonus if you could do it, but you may not have the time to do it, or it's not important. So learn how to filter through what is not important or not urgent, and either don't do it or save it for a time when you have a little bit extra time to focus on that. So moving into what I mentioned earlier, task management and time awareness. So management, breaking down big projects into smaller tasks. And I think our first student mentioned this, kind of like figuring out different things that need to be done. So say you want to make a sports team and, you want to make sure that you have the skills necessary. I think our student mentioned earlier. So you need to have, small approaches. I was a basketball player, so I'll use that example. But, you don't just go out there and, play the game and hope that you get better along the way. You want to learn how to have small tasks. I need to work on shooting. I need to make sure I have a good, good stroke, a good system when I'm shooting the ball. You want to make sure that you're dribbling. You need to work on dribbling drills. And that way, the big goal is to become better overall at basketball. That way you can make that team. Second is time awareness. Create small due dates for tasks and put them into a calendar. And mentioned this earlier, you might have a big goal. So you break down those big goals into smaller projects, and then you create small due dates for each of those small tasks that will lead you to the overall big due date. And the third is to take feedback. So when the project is done, look back and see if these small tasks that you broke down or the schedule that you created for the small tasks was accurate, or do you need to adjust it next time you do a similar project? This can help you with future projects, make it more efficient and effective. I'm going to pause here and see if Trey and Austin have anything to add. Looks like Trey is shaking his head.
I think that this slide is everything encapsulated in this slide is critical. Task management, especially when you have a big goal, it may seem, it's like looking up at Everest. Like, my goodness, how do I even achieve this? Or how do I accomplish this goal? I think the best approach, and actually an approach I read about in a book written by a Navy SEAL, and how they conquer every task that they deal with, is they break everything down into smaller, more manageable tasks. And after you've done a number of these smaller, more manageable tasks, you look back and you're halfway to your goal. So I think it's easy to get discouraged when you have a large goal, for example, like starting a sports team. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to a sports team, and it would take, if you tried to tackle that head on, your likelihood of success is probably not high. But if you use that approach to systematically manage your tasks and understand how much time you have to do these things, it becomes much more manageable. And it really has to do with, one of the students earlier mentioned having the right mindset. If you have the right mindset and you're able to manage the tasks, I think that's critical to taking on any goal that you want to achieve. And I think that makes any goal achievable if you use this list of things to really facilitate your task, your goal making and goal setting and things of that nature.
Yeah, I agree, Austin. All great points. And, the topic here today, organization and self-direction, this couldn't be more relevant to that. I've been practicing, like I said, 30 some years. I mean, I still have to make a list and make sure I've got my tasks and stuff organized in a timely way, because I might know in my brain that I've got 20 things that I need to get done in the next couple of weeks, but some of them are due tomorrow and some of them are due next week, and I've got to get organized and I know I can do them all, but if I don't get a schedule set on how and when I'm going to accomplish those and motivate myself and direct myself, then I'm going to get overwhelmed. I don't know if you can see this. It's not going to show, is it? Shoot. Can you see that? You see that title?
I can't. I was a little engine that could.
I'm really kind of strange. Like, I'll have like a flashback to my childhood. Occasionally I'll go on Amazon and order this. And I ordered this little book here a while back because this was one of my favorite books when I was a kid. The Little Engine That Could. And, and I just want to tell you guys that, there's just nothing that you can't do. And if you set your mind to it and you get organized and you get some self-direction involved, you can accomplish those goals, and you can get the help that you need if you need help. Like Olivia just mentioned, the different things, some tasks you can do, some you can delegate, some you can put off because they don't have to be done right now. But there's a whole process there to accomplish goals. And the little engine that could is very inspirational to me. And so I would encourage you to think that way.
That's a great segue into our next slide. If I could get the slide to move. There we go. Little engine that could self-motivation. So find what works for you. As I think the student mentioned earlier, you have to have confidence. And I think confidence really goes a long way in helping to be self-motivated to achieve a goal. I think it's very important to learn to find what you're passionate about and find some confidence to make sure that you're meeting those goals that you have for yourself. But you also want to make sure that, you're continuing to motivate yourself along. You don't want to just continue to set goals for yourself and never reward yourself for them, or never take a moment to recognize how far you've come. So one of the things that you can do to help continue to self-motivate yourself is create a personal reward list for self-reinforcement. So a couple of examples of this, say you have 3 tasks to do before the end of the school day. And, if you complete those goals, maybe after school you could, meet up with friends. I mean, not everyone likes coffee. I really like coffee, but go for coffee, or, go play a video game together, whatever that may be. Just create a list of things that you can do, that you enjoy doing, to treat yourself after you complete those goals. Trey, what's a couple of things that help you self-motivate? What are a couple of your personal reward list items?
Well, I always like client satisfaction. That's very important to me, to achieve a goal that I know that the client is going to be satisfied with. So that's probably one of my, biggest motivations. I think when I'm doing things, I want to make sure that I give the client, justice in the work that I'm doing. And client satisfaction. For myself, I think that setting a goal and meeting that goal is very rewarding for me. If I take the time, and I wanted to mention that too, the setting of goals and the process that you've described here today, it takes time. And sometimes people think, I don't want to take the time to do that. I don't want to sit down and have a plan in place. I don't want to sit down and figure out when am I going to do what, because that in and of itself takes time. It's very important to take that time because it'll pay dividends down the road. So I think when I set goals and then I accomplish those goals, if it's my work schedule or getting certain tasks accomplished, I just feel, really much better about myself, and it gives me a little bit more self-confidence in what I'm doing, I think, going forward. So it's personal to everybody. But find those things, I think, because your motivation in doing a good job for whatever it is you're doing, whatever your task is gonna show and help you be successful.
Great. And we'll go ahead and move us along. I think we just have a few minutes left. So I want us to practice some of these organization and self-direction things we've talked about. So in your class, I want you to maybe break up into some small groups and discuss this. But say you have a group project where you have to plan a pep rally at your school for homecoming. I'm not sure if y'all have already had homecoming, but you have to plan a pep rally for it, and you have 1 month to plan it. I want you all to create a couple of small tasks with deadlines leading up to the pep rally to help you gear up for the overall goal of, just celebrating homecoming at your school. So I want you to use the 4-point system we talked about: the do first, schedule, delegate, and what you're not going to do. And Ms. Good will take maybe 2 minutes to do that in your class, and then we'll come back. I'll ask each group to maybe share 1 or 2 things that how they are going to organize that, and then we'll close for the day.